Welcome back, guys. On this episode, I'm going to be showing you how we can use our Resi Lace in this little Christmas tree tray here. So basically upscaling it so it's a nice Christmas themed piece of decor for your home. So let's get into it. What we've got today is we have our Resi Lace, our 2:1 ratio Resi Lace, and I have already mixed up a little batch for us to work with. So if you do want to view how we've measured and mixed that, please make sure you check out the link below. We have our board, which I'm going to give a light sand because I do want to remove the fine coating that is on it. So I'll quickly show you how we do that. I've got our 240 grit sandpaper here. We're going to be using our olive green metallic powder, our white horizon tint, and we're going to be decorating it with a little bit of our copper foil. So let's get started. Now I'm just going to hand sand. Basically, anything that's sort of pre-purchased generally will have some kind of light seal coat on it. So the aim of me sanding it is to actually remove that top layer. And I'm only hand sanding it because I still am only going to be pouring into the bottom of the channel. I don't want to remove that top layer around the outside lip. So I'm going to give it a nice big scuff up and remove as much of that as we can. And then we'll probably spend more time cleaning it out with the isopropyl to make sure all the sawdust is removed than I will actually sanding it up and removing some of that top layer. Okay, so I'm happy with the layer that I've removed here. You can see all my sawdust in there. Now I'm using 240 grit just for a reason, because it doesn't leave aggressive scratch marks on my piece. So if I was to start with a more aggressive sandpaper grit like your 120 or even your 60 to 80 grit, it would leave a fair few deeper scratches in my piece, especially because I'm hand sanding it, not using a sander. And the reason I'm hand sanding it is because I do want to get into these channels here. I don't want to just basically do the bulk of the area. I want to make sure I've covered all in the little corners here and inside this lip. Now, if with the 240, it's fine enough so when I do a coating of resin on it, you're not going to see any scratches come through or anything like that as well. And the other thing is, after I clean this, I won't need to do a seal up layer with our resin. The Resi Lace is quite a thick resin. This piece itself, the type of timber it is quite compressed as well, so I'm not overly concerned about any bubbles coming out of the timber. It's not super porous. So I won't be doing a seal up layer on this particular piece. So let's get to and clean up this mess. Just giving it a nice spray down with our isopropyl, pure isopropyl. And I want to remove all of that sawdust that I've just scratched up on the surface. I don't want to have any loose dusty particles because that can hinder our resin bond with the timber itself if there are any loose or dusty particles. And you can see how it's come off on the cloth as well. So making sure we've thoroughly cleaned it and removed all of that. And we're ready to mix some colours. So I've got my nitrile gloves out because I'm about to divide our resin batch up. So I've got my 3 little dispenser cups here, and I'm going to put a little bit in each, a little bit for our white. I only want the smallest amount of white because I do have a very small board here and I don't want the white taking over. A little bit that I'm going to put some of our copper foil into. And I just want to keep the tiniest little bit off to the side just in case I need it as a backup. And the rest of my mixture I'm going to put in our olive green metallic powder. So we're keeping with the Christmas theme using this olive green colour. And I'm going to put a good couple of scoops in because I want my mixture nice and opaque. So I want to cover the base of this timber thoroughly. I'm going to give that a mix in, just break it down a little bit first. And mix it in. I love this green because even though it's an olive green, it's almost like it's got golden warm tones to it. Okay, that's thoroughly mixed in. We are going to move to our white next. This is our white horizon tint. just clean up my hands. This tint gets everywhere, but I do want to give it a little mix up. When you haven't used your tint for a while, it's a really good idea to make sure that you mix it thoroughly, so you're getting any of the sediment that might go on the bottom side of it. It's kind of like paint. If you let paint settle for a while, you want to make sure you stir it back in. Same works with the tints. And with the opaque tints, you don't need a great deal of colour. It goes a long way. So I just dribbled a little bit in there, and then we'll mix that through. We've got a nice solid white now. Perfect. I'll just clean this mess out of the way, and then we'll put a little bit of our foil into our second dispenser cup. I do want to break it up a little bit because it does come out in clumps sometimes, so I just want to tear it apart a little bit and spread it out and just break it up and mix it through. Just want to make sure it's not too clumpy, that I do break it up that little bit further. Okay, and we are pretty much ready to pour now that I have my copper foil mixed in, my white horizon tint, and our olive green metallic powder. So I'm going to start with our olive green, and we're going to fill the tray. Just dust away everything that we've had on this table here. Make sure this is thoroughly clean, that I haven't dropped any pigments or anything on it. And we're going to pour away. All right, so I'm going to spread it out so I've got a nice even coverage. All right. So we do have a nice even coverage. Being that I've used metallic, we can sort of swirl it up how we want. This will change though when I add our next layer in, which will be a little bit of white. And especially if I give it a mist with isopropyl, or if we blow it out a little bit with our straw. So I'm not overly concerned about my pattern right this second, but as it starts to thicken up, you can manipulate that pattern. But yeah, that's the beauty of having metallics, so you can actually see the metallic pattern running through it. So next I think I'm just going to give our foil mixture a little bit of a mist with our isopropyl, because we've got a lot of fine bubbles that have come up in the mixture. And that'll just break that surface tension and pop those bubbles. And I might start putting a little bit of our white in. I kind of want it to look like, you know, almost like a little bit of like snow-capped little leaves on your Christmas tree. So I do aim to, after I've positioned this, sort of blow it and move it out of the way. So that way we can get a little bit of that sort of snowy, fresh snow-capped leaf look. So I'm going to get our straw, give it a little move around with the lace, because that's the beauty of the lace, especially when you're using your opaque colours. It will give you that cell effect, similar to like what you get with your whitewash on your ocean waves. So we'll grab a straw and we'll see if we can move some of that around. Okay, I'm just going to give it a light little blow on these sections to push it down a little bit. I'm going to give it a nice little mist with isopropyl as well, because that'll help bring open these colours up and bring some cells out into the piece as well. And as you can see, it's sort of broken up some of our white and given it a little baby cells popping through. Right, for the time being, I'm going to stop mucking around with the white, and we're going to add a little bit of our copper foil in as well. And I'm using the copper foil, I guess, as like what would be your decorations on your Christmas tree. So whether it's baubles or tinsel and that. So I'm going to sort of line it on the top of each of these little white sections, as if it was sitting on the top of the branches. I think that's just given it a little bit of a classy touch, a little bit of a shimmer to our tree. Might just add a tiny bit more in some sections. Okay, I'm happy with where we've laid the foil now. So it does act as if it's like tinsel and decoration across the tree. But I'm gonna snow cap the tip of the tree. So we're gonna put a little bit more white up here and then just blow that down a little bit so it blends in a little bit more with the rest of the snow feature going on our tree. And I'll give it the tiniest bit of a mist with isopropyl up this end. A tiny little bit more down the bottom. And spread that out just a little bit more. And I think I might just quickly just do the tiniest bit more down this side just to balance out a little bit. I feel like I'm missing a little bit of white balance on this side. I'll just put a tiny bit more of that down. But I've kind of liked the effect that when I was blowing in the green just then, so I might just move the green around a little bit with the straw as well. That's just given us a little bit more texture on our green. And I'm pretty happy with that now. So we have now upscaled our little Christmas tray, and so it doesn't look just so plain and boring now. And all I can imagine is having some nice warm baked cookies on here. Okay, so with our Resi Lace, what we'll do is we'll let it sit for 24 hours and that'll be at its cure time, and then it's pretty much ready for use. Once the resin dries hard, and it is then food contact safe, so we are able to sit our items on there to use it as a serving tray. So guys, thanks for joining in. Remember to like, subscribe. If you've got any comments, leave them below. Happy to answer those. Until next time, we'll see you then.